Very good evening, friends. Meeting again in the session of Stuart Close philosophy, and we were on the chapter number 8, the concluding part of this chapter, the general pathology of homeopathy. And in the last part, he has tried his level best to explain about the drug diseases or iatrogenic diseases. And this is the big part one should learn. What he wants to explain over there, that there are many patients who comes to us who have already consumed large doses of the allopathic medicines. Those are the large doses or material doses, and many a times it is a mixed picture which you are going to get in your practice, because of which you are not sure whether this is the original symptom of the disease, or whether it is a iatrogenic disorder. And for that purpose, he gives certain solutions. He explains over there that one must be able to know what medicines the patient has consumed earlier. This is too important. And that's why in your history taking, whenever you take a chronic case, you must find it out what are the medicines already consumed by the patient. You write it over there. Yes, these are the medicines. Then you must know the unnecessary adverse reactions which can happen because of use of those medicines. If you don't know, now there are many apps available. There is good app by Tata, that is 1mg, where you can put just remedy name and you can find the actions, the reaction, adverse reactions, side effects, everything is written under it. If that is your duty to find it out whether this symptom is the effect of that medicine or whether it is really original feature of the disease. And if you are able to judge that, then it becomes rather simple task to go further. Many times you stop the medicines, earlier medicines, and you're going to get, yes, patient, many complaints vanished. And those are because of the drug diseases. And that's why it is necessary to know all the actions of the medicines which are already consumed. Second important thing, a common question, practical question, which comes in such types of cases, if patient who is on continuously on steroids since long time, and now he wants homeopathic treatment. For example, a rheumatoid arthritis case comes to you who is already on allopathic medicines and who comes to you and he is taking the steroids. Now, if you stop the steroids, there will be severe aggravation. It will suddenly develop. So, in such types of cases, it is necessary to taper down the doses of steroids. If the patient is consuming 5 milligram 3 times a day, it is your duty to ask him to continue for another week 5 milligrams twice a day. Then after 1 week, again reduce it to 5 milligram a day. If you gradually reduce, then there will be no immediate aggravation and you can continue with your own remedy and later on cut down the allopathic medicine. So these are things which he is highlighting over there, and he wants to explain, yes, there is an important role of what medicines patient has consumed. That was the big history one has to ask for. We were on page number 18. The first paragraph will start with, the toxic effects of the drugs prescribed in ordinary routine practice are commonly overlooked. In spite of popular delusion to the contrary, a drug loses none of its power in being prescribed by a man who writes MD after his name. Who writes MD after his name. Today, as in dark ages, there are physicians who give drugs as if they believed that each of them, at their behest, would find its way through the devious channels of the body and perform exact tasks assigned to it. Unlike the chemist and the pork packer, they do not see the byproducts nor make use of them. And see, this is the criticism which he has done against the practitioners who used to write many drugs to the patient, considering that this medicine will going to hit only on that specific part. But it's not so. Whatever the allopathic medicines which you are going to consume will act on that part along with the rest of the parts also. That is what is called as byproduct. If you are having very severe arthritis, you consume the painkillers. Yes, painkillers will give you instant relief. At the same time, it effects on the gastric flora, and gastritis is the commonest side effect byproduct of it. And this happens quite commonly. Every drug has its own effects and side effects, because they considers that this remedy will going to work for that. Yes, it will going to work for that specific symptom, but rest of the features develops inside the body, and these are hazardous for the patient. Patient long standing on the anti-inflammatory drugs always compromises his kidneys. Patients long standing on the steroids always suffers either from kidney problem, either from the avascular necrosis of femoral head, or many other byproducts of the steroid, the diabetes which can be developed because of the use of steroids. So such things are quite common when you use the remedies in larger doses and on the symptomatic basis, and those one must know. And these are the things which one must have a knowledge about. And then he says, it was said of the pork packer that they had learned to utilize every part of the pig except his squeal. Then came an enterprising graph firm whose agents invaded the slaughterhouse and actually recorded the squeals for reproduction, thus completing the work of salvage. So he has compared it with the pork packers, what they do and what these medicines can do. It's a different with the doctors. If the patient recovers after his dosing, all is well, and doctor is confirmed in his faith. If the patient gets worse, new symptoms arise, all is still well, medically speaking. It is merely a complication for which he has ready name and conventional pathological classification. If the patient dies, there is no lack of cause assignable on a pathological basis, and the requirement of the health department are easily met in filling the blanks in the death certificate. The science is vindicated, and the doctor felicitates himself on his diagnostic and pathological acumen. His faith in drugs is not shaken. Many times it has been happened that the patient is on long-standing drugs. Ultimately, gradually, some pathology develops and patient dies. This happens many times. For example, if patient is long standing on the corticosteroids, one must do all investigations, and you will find that many times there are some byproducts which develop. And for them, it is only palliative line of treatment which is available. That's why they cannot remove, they cannot stop. And patient goes on taking, and one of the day he dies. And when he dies, the PM is done, and all pathological changes which happened over there are written over there to file the death certificate. No one claims that this has been because of medicines. It has been said that he had liver cirrhosis, he had kidney inflammation or kidney atrophied. That is filled. But from what this is atrophied, from what this liver has degenerated, no one writes over there and no one explains over there. And what Close explains over there, these are the hazardous effects which can happen because of such a long-standing use of heroic medicines over there. Rarely does it occur to the prescriber that the complication is but the symptomatic reflection of the drug or drugs he has previously given. Sometimes he does seem to have faint glimpses of the unpleasant truth, as when tetanus, trismus, or acute Bright's disease speedily follows vaccination. See, these are the dangerous effects which can happen after vaccination, which is explained. Tetanus, yes. If vaccine is taken, patient goes into tetanus or trismus. Trismus means that khilivasna, lockjaw. Then acute Bright's disease, that is the acute inflammatory disease of the kidneys. And when tetanus, trismus, or acute Bright's disease speedily follow vaccination, or when hemorrhage in the lungs, kidneys, and retina quickly supervenes upon the administration of massive doses of quinine. These are the dangerous effects of quinine, that it can produce hemorrhages in the retina, lungs, as well as kidneys. Or when he happens to recognize one of the puzzling eruptions said to be caused by one or more of the 29 drugs named by Glentworth Butler in his work, The Diagnostic of Internal Medicine. But such patches of insights are rare and accomplish little in stemming the tide of the drugs, which is engulfing so many victims. Though such a physician may be as keen on scent of the last new bacillus as Buster was on trail of bunny cottontail. His nose is singularly dull when he comes to trailing the most common of all causes of the disease, the preceding drug. And very important thing which he has explained that, see, it is a very important comment he has made, and that comment is really a very important comment, that most common of all causes of disease, the preceding drug, whatever the medicine the patient has consumed earlier, that may be the cause of his chronic illness or cause of his present illness. And this is the right thing. Many times you get it in your homeopathic practice because patient comes to you at the end. Already they have consumed lot of allopathic medicines in large quantity. And because of which, when they comes to homeopath to take the homeopathic medicine, you get all those hazardous effects which already the patient has consumed. In the rank and file of medicine, the old ideas on pharmacology still obtain in spite of wanted progress. A drug or combination of drugs, when administered to the patient, is supposed to have no other effects than those assigned theoretically to the class to which it belongs. The other effects which are sure to arise are attributed to the natural progress of the disease or to some theoretical complication. When you treat certain disorder with the help of such large medicines, material medicine, it is considered that it acts only at that specific part. And so whatever something develops, they consider it is part and parcel of his disease only. Actually, it is not so. Actually, the things are rather different. Actually, they are the effects of the medicines which happens to be there. And then they have a different name for that disease. But actually, they are the effects of the large doses of such medicine. And this criticism which he has done against that, it is not a criticism, it is a reality which he is trying to show over there. And this happens, this reality you can catch many times in your practice. And this happens so commonly. You observe that patient comes to you with lot of effects of those medicines. And patient, many times rheumatoid arthritis patients who come, who is already on steroids, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, and he comes with the puffiness of the face and all over the body, there is generalized edema and everything. And when you stop gradually the medicines, automatically that disappears and patient becomes again to the normal phase. And then you understand these are not the effects of rheumatoid arthritis, these are the effects which the patient has consumed the medicines. So this is the common thing which happens to be there. When we come to examine these allopathic drug classification from the standpoint of that knowledge of drugs, which is derived from actual observation of their effects upon the healthy, as recorded in homeopathic provings, we find them to be the crudest character and based upon most superficial knowledge of the drug action. If you want to learn the allopathic medicine, what do you do being a VIHMC student? You order the drug today books or memes, and you observe that you read the drug name. Under that, it has been given the action or effect. Effect, only one or two lines, it has been mentioned. Then below that, it has been written side effects, and there are many more. Then contraindication, much more than that. Adverse reactions. See, the column effect is very less because it is the crudest action which has been noted down when proved on animals. When you prove it on animals, whatever the changes which happens at the tissue level are taken into consideration, and they are very few, one or two or three, not more than that. And that's why their materia medica is the crudest materia medica, where you get very less effects which are known to them. The gross toxic effects of the drugs, as observed accidentally in men or animals or as guessed, are set over against equally crude generalization of disease usually the antipathic principle, where any principle at all is discoverable. And there are certain medicines which are used on the basis of antipathic principle. What is the principle? Contraria contraris curantur. One of the part in allopathy, what they try is in their practice is antipathy. That is only pathy which is having at least some principle. Allopathy doesn't have any principle. But when they use the antipathic measure, that is based upon their general principle of contraria contraris curantur. So this is what he explains over there, that those are also prescribed only on single symptom. If the patient is having constipation, they give the remedy which has direct action as a purgative. If the patient is having the diarrhea, they give the medicine which lessens the motility, like a low motil, like that reduces the motility. So it is against on the basis of principle, but it is on the crude effects of the drugs, and those are very less. For although the allopathic school of medicine of the present day repudiates any law or principle, it is plain that the rule of contrary still dominates it. One has to only to take down any standard allopathic work on materia medica to find its drug arranged in some 25 or 30 classes, the names of which either begin with anti or imply the same thing, as pointed out by late Dr. Bernard Wesselhoft of Boston. Thus, we find antitoxins, antispasmodics, antipyrotics, antipyretics, antacids, antiseptics, antihelmintics, alternatives, tonics, counterirritants, etc. Manifestly, the appellation, the allopathy holds good today as it did 100 years ago when Hahnemann applied it. And this is what is the present state of allopathy is there. It is not different than old school. Previously it was same, today also it is same. What do? They give the antibiotics, they give the analgesics, anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic, and this is the principle they used to use. They use the antipathic principle, not there is no principle aligned to the or assigned to the allopathy. Whatever is they are using many times antipathic drugs based upon single symptom, and they use that medicine. So this is what is there in allopathy, and when you give that medicine, it has its hazardous effects. Patient consumes the anti-allergic as an avil. Everyone knows the avil as an anti-allergic remedy. Patient has the urticaria and they takes the avil, and you'll find that patient becomes drowsy later on. So his urticaria vanished, but patient has become drowsy. It means that drowsiness is the even it is the effect of the medicine. They consider it is a side effect. Side means for what purpose they have prescribed, yes, it is working, but at the same time it is producing its effects on the sensorium of the person, and because of which the patient becomes drowsy. So these are things which one must understand, and that's why the drug diseases you must know in detail. For that purpose, what is needed, what he wants to explain to you is just write down what medicines patient was on previous coming to you. As long as drugs retain their power to make people well, to make well people sick, and as long as doctors continue to make such generalization as these, so long must both be recognized and dealt with as causative factors in the production of human ills. And so, as our allopathic neighbors and our homeopathic brethren with allopathic proclivities remain as yet in large majority, there will continue to be plenty of work for real followers of Hahnemann to do in dealing with the results of their medical obtuseness for some time to come. Many times I used to say to my students that you choose homeopathy, work hard for homeopathy and practice homeopathy, sky is the limit. Because these if you go to the skin specialist, they are seeing hundreds of patients per day, and what do? They goes on applying many potent ointments. Nowadays in the market there are very potent steroid ointments. Within a day everything vanishes. It never gets vanished. It goes inside. It creates new internal disorder. This is what is the Hahnemann's theory of psora. And many psoric patients with chronic complaints who never gets results with regular allopathic medicine ultimately comes to you. And this factory is going on everywhere. And this is what he is saying over there. Till the allopathic practitioners are there, the homeopaths have plenty of work. True it is that if we use the crude drugs could entirely be done away with, the sum of human ills would be greatly reduced. What is saying? If you remove the drugs in the market, maximum ills will be reduced. Or as Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes wittily said, these are allopathic practitioners who said, if all drugs in the world were dumped into sea, it would be better for mankind and worse for the fishes. See the comment which he has made, very important, that if those medicines are dumped into the sea, it will be better for mankind. They will not suffer from such drug diseases, but it will be worse for fishes who used to remain over there. In either case, probably two-thirds of the existing ornaments of the medical profession would shine in other spheres with at least equal radiance. This is again witty comment over there, that those who are having brilliance and who are using their talents in the medical fields using those medicines, if they goes into another field, they will get more than that thing. This phase of the subject is important from practical standpoint. Cases will frequently present themselves which are puzzling and resist all efforts to cure until they are recognized as drug cases. The trouble may be entirely due to drugs, or there may be combination in varying proportions of drugs and disease symptoms. And there are many cases which are coming where no diagnosis is made, and then they goes on finding it out what the medicine their patient is consuming, and then they understand that it is the result of what medicine they have already consumed. Such types of dangerous effects which used to find it out when such medicines are used in large quantities in the human life. There are dangerous disorders like Sjogren's syndrome, which can be caused because of use of sulfa. Steven-Johnson syndromes can be caused because of long continued medicines. Many dangerous syndromes which are later labeled, and they are the hazardous effects of the long-standing use of allopathic medicines. And these one must know and one must understand. And for that purpose, it is necessary to make the patient medicine free. That is very important. I used to tell the patient, if we are able to reduce your medicines, allopathic medicine, we have half win of your case. And this happens many times. So we'll stop over here, and tomorrow we'll finish this chapter. It will be a last concluding lecture. Tomorrow's lecture will be concluding lecture on this general pathology of homeopathy. Nearly about 18 parts we are discussing about this, 18, 19 in fact. So this is big chapter, but he has highlighted all practical aspects about the pathology, about the medicine and homeopathy, compared it with homeopathy. So that's all for today. We'll conclude over here. Today evening at 8 o'clock, we'll meet with one more new remedy, that is the Agaricus muscarius from third year syllabus. And Agaricus is again a very important remedy in our homeopathic practice. So we'll learn it from the Allen's notes along with some clinical cases of the Agaricus which I have treated. So that's all for today. If any query is there, we'll have a chat. Otherwise, we'll conclude. So we'll meet at 8 o'clock sharp. Thank you.